No one could say exactly when James vanished, not even the people who lived under the same roof as him. It was as if his existence had simply dissolved into thin air. One ordinary morning, his phone went silent. No calls answered, no messages read, not even the familiar, seen, notification that always appeared whenever Deep sent him something, even a mundane, "Have you eaten yet?" Now, there was nothing. No trace, no clue, no shadow. It felt to Deep as if the world itself had swallowed him whole. She stood on the balcony of their modest home, gripping her phone so tightly her knuckles blanched white. The dawn was still wrapped in a thin, milky mist, drifting like breath over a sleeping city. She stared into that haze with a desperate, aching hope, half expecting James to walk out of it, smiling, teasing her for worrying too much. But he didn't. They hadn't fought. Not really, they didn't even raise their voices, but something had been wrong. James had been elsewhere. Not physically, he sat beside her, but his mind seemed far away, pulled toward some heavy, unspoken burden. He kept saying he needed to handle something at home. His eyes wandered constantly, toward the window, toward the door, toward nothing in particular. As if he were bracing himself for a storm he couldn't name. Before he left that night, he kissed her forehead, softly, tenderly, like a promise sealed before battle. "I love you," he whispered. "Don't worry." But worry was all she had now. By the next day, whispers began spreading in the sprawling James mansion faster than wildfire in dry grass. Servants murmured about a long, heated meeting between James and his father behind closed doors. Others claimed Father James stormed out afterward, slamming the door so hard the walls trembled. To outsiders, it looked like a traditional scene, a father guiding a son, but Deep had endured enough of the old man's disdain to know better. Each time she asked where James had gone, the answer was the same, cold, rehearsed, deliberately vague. "He needs time away. Don't ask too many questions." It wasn't an explanation, it was a threat. Father James's disdain. From the start, Father James never accepted her. His gaze, sharp as glass shards, always sliced away at her dignity. He saw her as a blemish on the family's polished legacy, something beneath the James name. Still, Deep endured it. For James. For their future. For love. She believed time could soften even the sternest heart. But now, with her husband missing, every instinct screamed the same alarming conclusion. Something was terribly wrong. That morning, Deep walked straight to the main house. Her steps echoed through the grand hallway lined with polished floors and framed ancestral portraits. Her heart thundered, but her resolve was louder. When Father James finally emerged, his expression was carved from stone. "Where is James?" Her voice trembled, but she forced herself to remain upright. He didn't blink. "He is gone," he said flatly. "And he will not be coming back to you." The world tilted. Her breath caught. Her pulse faltered. Gone. Not coming back. No sadness. No hesitation. Just finality. In that instant, Deep understood something chilling. James did not leave her by choice. And if she wanted to find him, she would have to go against the man who had always viewed her as the enemy. For days, Deep wandered through the enormous house like a ghost. Every hallway echoed with the memory of James's laughter. Every room felt colder in his absence, but the same sentence, Father James's sentence, stabbed her over and over. He will not be coming back to you. Why? Where was James? What had been done to him? She refused to let fear silence her. At sunrise, she entered the mansion again. Servants avoided her gaze. Fear sealed their lips. They knew something, but they were too afraid to speak. She found Father James in his study, calmly drinking tea as though he hadn't ruined a life. "I want the truth," she demanded. "You owe me that much." He lifted his eyes slowly, cold, dismissive. "I owe you nothing. You were a mistake from the beginning." The words were knives. But she did not flinch. "Where did you send him?" He closed his file with deliberate calm, leaned back, and folded his hands. "You think I would let my son throw away his future for a girl like you?" He was confused. Lost. "I simply reminded him where he belongs." Her breath trembled. "What does that mean?" Father James stood, towering over her. "It means James is somewhere he can think clearly. Somewhere you cannot follow." Her heart pounded. "Did you force him to leave?" A thin smile broke across his lips. "I did what any father would do to protect his son from a woman who brings nothing but trouble." Suddenly, a whisper. "Mrs. Deep, I know something." A young servant girl stood behind the half-open door, trembling, eyes wide with fear. She gestured frantically for Deep to follow. Deep cast one last look at Father James, whose face revealed nothing, and hurried after the girl. The truth was finally unraveling, and it was darker than she imagined. The servant led her into an unused back corridor where the walls smelled of old wood and forgotten memories. Near the laundry room, where machines roared loudly enough to hide their voices, the girl finally spoke. Miss Deep, I shouldn't say this. If Master finds out, I could lose everything. Deep took her hand gently. I won't let anything happen to you. Please, tell me. After a deep breath, the girl nodded. The night before Master forced you out, James left me a message. He said, if anything happened to him, I should give it to you. Deep's breath froze. The girl pulled a small, worn piece of folded paper from her apron, creased from being hidden again and again. Deep unfolded it with trembling hands. James's handwriting leapt from the page, alive, urgent, intimate. James's letter. Deep, if you are reading this, it means my father has interfered again. Please don't be afraid, please don't think I abandoned you, not for a single second. There are things happening that you don't know. Dangerous things. I have to leave to protect you and NHI. But I promise, when the time is right, I will come back for you, no matter what my father says. No matter where he tries to send me, my heart stays with you. James. Tears blurred her vision. Relief, fear, love. He hadn't left her, he hadn't abandoned her, he was protecting her, again. Where is he? Deep whispered. The servant stepped even closer. Master sent him overseas. They left at dawn. They said it was for training, but I overheard things. What things? That James didn't want to go. That he tried to call you, but they took his phone. And someone dangerous is involved. Master said keeping you apart was the only way to save him. Deep clutched the letter to her chest. James wasn't gone. He had been taken, controlled, manipulated, possibly threatened. If she didn't act, she could lose him forever. The world outside the mansion felt colder, as if even the sky dimmed with her grief. She stepped toward the gate, clutching James's note so tightly it nearly tore. She was leaving, she would find him, no matter where he'd been sent. But then, stop right there. Father James's voice boomed behind her. His footsteps were slow but heavy, echoing years of hatred and fear. Deep closed her eyes, inhaled once, and turned to face the man who had shattered her world. You should never have come back, he growled. I warned you to stay away from James. Her fingers curled around the note. You think you can separate us forever? I already have, he said. James is gone. And even if he wanted to return, which he won't, you will never see him again. A tremor ran through her, not of fear, but of fury. You're wrong, you foolish girl, he spat. What power do you have? You're nothing. Deep lifted her chin. Her voice shook, but it was fierce. I have love. Something you lost long ago. He froze. She stepped closer. You think you're protecting him. But all you're doing is destroying him. James doesn't need control. He needs a father. For a moment, the world held its breath. Then Father James surged toward her, fury unleashed. But before he could reach her, the iron gate burst open. Don't touch her. Deep's heart stopped. James. He stood there, dusty, breathless, eyes burning with the fire of a man who fought the world to return to her. He stepped between her and his father. If you want to hurt her, he said through clenched teeth, you'll have to go through me. Father James stared at his son, as if seeing him for the first time, and Deep realized. This was only the beginning of the real battle.